Hey, alright, what's up, everybody? This is Dave, and I have been studying for my technician class ham radio license, and have not been doing very well, so I wanted to show you all exactly the kind of questions that are in this technician level. As you can see, there's 3 levels: the technician, the general, and the extra class. So alright, so let's go ahead and go through the practice exam that you can download their app. Please ignore my loud slurping dog in the background. Alright, so, and I'm using my wife's mount, so it moves a little bit, but here we go. With which countries are FCC licensed amateur stations prohibited from exchanging communications? Oh wow, let's see. Any country whose administration has notified the ITU that it objects to such communication. Any country in violation of the War Powers Act of 1934. Any country engaged in hostilities with another country. Well, that would be any of them. And any country whose administration has notified the ARRL that it objects to such communications. So it's either alpha or delta, and because the amateur radio relay something, I forget, delta, it's wrong. And of course it was alpha. So any country whose administration has notified the ITU that it objects to such communications, and the ITU is the International. I should have known better. Stupid of me. But anyways, alright, there's the first question. Failed. Who selects a frequency coordinator? Well, I'm going to go with alpha on this one. Yes, so amateur operators in a local or regional area whose stations are eligible to be auxiliary or repeater stations. Which of the following restrictions apply when a non-licensed person is allowed to speak to a foreign station using a station under control of a technician class control operator? I'm gonna go with Bravo. Alright, I got it. So the foreign station must be one with which the U.S. has a third-party agreement. Who is accountable should a repeater inadvertently retransmit communications that violate the FCC rules? I'm gonna go with the control operator of the originating station. Yep. Alright, so we're passing, as of right now, 75%. When are you allowed to operate your amateur station in a foreign country? This one, I think I remember because I missed it earlier, is going to be Delta. When the foreign country authorizes it. Which part of the FCC regulation contains the rules governing the amateur radio service? I think it's part 97. Yes. Alright, cool. Which of the following describes the muting of receiver audio controlled solely by the presence or absence of an RF signal? The receiver. Oh my goodness. Let's go with carrier squelch. Whew. Alright, so carrier squelch is the muting of a receiver audio controlled solely by the presence or absence of an RF signal. Which of the following applies when two stations transmitting on the same frequency interfere with each other? This one is just going to be delta. Common courtesy should prevail, but no one has absolute right to an amateur frequency. That's very true. Alright. Which Q signal indicates that you are changing frequency? I think this is QSY. Yes, I don't know why I remember that. What is the formula? Oh my goodness, I hate this. These math questions on here. There's a section with nothing but math questions and formulas, and I'm not the best at math, so this kind of sucks for me. But what is the formula for converting frequency to approximate wavelength in meters? I think it is delta. Wavelength in meters equals 300 divided by the frequency in megahertz. I don't know why I think that, but let's see. Oh, I'm right. Seriously, I've taken this test on this app about 15 times. I have never come this close to being as decent as we are right now, so let's not jinx this, right? What is generally the best time for, for long distance 10-meter band propagation via the F layer? This is the whole ionosphere type stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But let's see. From dawn to shortly after sunset during periods of low sunspot activity. From shortly after sunset to dawn during periods of high sunspot activity. From shortly after sunset to dawn during periods of low sunspot activity, and from dawn to shortly after sunset during periods of high sunspot activity. I think it's going to be during low sunspot activity first of all. So then the question is going to be from in the daytime or at nighttime. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say from dawn to shortly after sunset. Oh, I'm wrong. Oh, so low sunspot activity is incorrect. So let's go back to the high sunspot activity and see if it's during the day. Shortly after sunset to dawn, shortly after sunset to dawn. What? This is from shortly after sunset, from dawn to shortly after sunset. Okay, so it is during the daytime and during high sunspot activity, so I'll have to remember that one. First time I've even seen that question. Which of the following is a likely cause of irregular fading or signals received by ionospheric reflection? Wow. Interference from thunderstorms. Irregular fading signals. Random combining of signals arriving via different paths. Let's just go with that one. Wow, that's right. So random combining of signals arriving via different paths. Oh my goodness. Which of the following is an appropriate receive filter bandwidth to select in order to minimize noise and interference with continuous wave reception, or CW? 500 hertz. Oh, I got it. Where should an inline SWR, which I cannot remember what that stands for, meter be connected to monitor the standing wave of the station antenna system? I think it is alpha in series with the feed line between the transmitter and the antenna. Yep. What is the appropriate amount of change measured in decibels of a power decrease from 12 watts to negative 3 watts? I think it is 1 decibel. No. All right, so it's, what is the appropriate amount of change measured in decibels of a power decrease from 12 watts to 3 watts? 6, negative 6. I don't know why. Oh, you gotta be joking. What is the appropriate amount of change measured in decibels of a power increase from 5 to 10 watts? I'm gonna go with 2 decibels. And it's probably 3 again. What is this 3? Killing me. Another math question. What is the resistance of a circuit in which a current of 3 amps flows through a resistor connected to 90 volts? 30 ohms. What is the electrical term for an electromotive force, EMF, that causes electron flow? That's voltage. What is the component in component 3 in figure T1? So we can zoom in on that. And that is a lamp. What is component 4 in figure T2? Oh no, 4. Oh man. Well, these little the little bump looking things that look like abs, those are inductors, that I know. So it has to be a variable inductor, but it's not. A double pole switch? No. A transformer. I don't get it. Oh man. How is it a transformer? Anyways, we're still passing with a 75%. I don't think we can miss any more though. I think 75 is what I gotta have to pass, so. What class of electronic component is capable of using a voltage or current signal to control current flow? Resistors. Oh. Transistors. What class of electronic component is capable of using a voltage or current signal to control current flow? What electrical component is usually composed of a coil of wire? An inductor. That I know. What should you do if something in a neighbor's home is causing harmful interference to your amateur station? Check your station. Yeah. Work with your neighbor. Yep. Politely inform your neighbor. Yeah, I suppose so. So, all of them. Gotta be neighborly. Which of the following is a common use of coaxial cable? Wow. Carrying RF signal between a radio and an antenna, for sure. Connecting data signals. I'm going to go with alpha on this one. Yep. Alright. Oh, I know this one. I just read this one last night. So, what reading on an SWR meter indicates a perfect impedance match between the antenna and the feed line? And that is a 1-to-1, baby. What is the characteristic appearance of a cold solder joint? A cold one. It's not a greenish tint because that means it was hot. Dark black spots. Nope. Grainy or dull surface. Yep. That was my second guess. What popular operating activity involves contacting as many stations as possible during a specified period of time? I know what this one is called, contesting or contesting. Basically, it's a contest that they have to see how many they can contact. With regard to satellite communications, what is a Doppler shift? Oh my goodness. An observed change in signal frequency caused by relative motion between a satellite and the Earth station, a change in satellite orbit, a mode where the satellite receives signal on one band and transmits on another. I don't think so. A special digital, I'm going to go with an observed change in signal frequency caused by relative motion between the satellite and the Earth station. Oh, we're passing again. Which of the following is an example of a digital communication method? Oh my goodness. I don't know what a PSK31 is. All choices are correct because I haven't a clue. I knew packet, but I wasn't sure about the other ones. So, alright, all of them. How is access to an IRLP node accomplished? What is an IRLP? Internet relay something? Who knows? I don't have a clue. By using DTMF signals. What is a good reason not to use a rubber duck antenna inside your car? Rubber duck antenna is a typical antenna that comes with a little handheld radio. Signals can be significantly weaker than when it's outside the vehicle. True. It could cause your radio to overheat. I'm going to go with that one because the SWR might decrease. You don't have an SWR in a freaking handheld. Which of the following connectors is most suitable for frequencies above 400? That is a type N connector. I remember I just read that like last night. What is a good precaution to observe before climbing an antenna tower? This one, because I've looked at this one before already, is putting on a climbing harness and safety glasses. Oh, we're passing with a 75.8 with 2 questions to go. If I pass, this will be the first time I've passed this crazy thing, but we'll see. What is the minimum safe distance from a power line to allow when installing an antenna? Oh my goodness. I like Charlie so that if the antenna falls unexpectedly, no part of it can come closer to 10 feet to the power wires. That one just made sense. Oh man. What is the maximum power level that an amateur station may use at VHF frequencies before an RF exposure elevation is required? I'm going to fail because of this one question. I'm going to go with alpha. Seriously, guys, this is the first time I have passed, and we passed with a 77.14%. So we got 27 questions correct out of 26 needed, and I missed 8 questions, and those questions are there. So, first one, with which countries are FCC licensed amateur stations prohibited from exchanging communications? And that's any of them that has notified the ITU that it objects. What is generally the best time for long-distance 10-meter band propagation via the F layer? So from dawn to shortly after sunset during periods of high sunspot activity. What is the appropriate amount of change measured in decibels of a power increase from 5 watts to 10 watts? And that was 3. And then what is the appropriate approximate amount of change measured in decibels of a power decrease from 12 to 3 watts was -6. What class of electric components is capable of using a voltage or a current signal to control current flow? And that was a transistor. What is the component in what is component 4 in figure T2? And that was those 2 lines in between the inductors. So that is a transformer. What is the characteristic of appearance of a cold solder? Is a grainy or dull surface. And then how is access to IRLP node accomplished? And that's by using DTMF signals. So anyways, that is the technician class amateur ham radio test example. I need to pass this a few more times before I go there and make a fool of myself and take this test for real. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any suggestions or recommendations on how I can do better and study methods and such, just let me know. I've got the study guide on my Kindle, and that's what I've been reading, and then I also have it do speech to text, so it reads it to me sometimes if I'm not able to read it myself, but or I just want to have it going on in the background for me. So anyways, hey, thanks everyone so much for watching the video, and wish me luck. All right, peace and God bless.